All right, let's get into it. Today we're tackling something that honestly everyone feels at some point: culture and belonging. You know, that whole idea of finding your place, and what happens when you feel like you just don't have one. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever had that feeling like you just don't quite fit in? Maybe you're in a new place, a new job, whatever, and you just feel like you're on the outside looking in. It's a really common feeling, right?
Well, there's actually a name for that exact feeling. And that's really our jumping off point for this whole conversation. It's called cultural alienation. And believe me, it's way more than just feeling a little awkward. It's this really deep sense of being disconnected.
So what are we talking about here, really? Think of it like this. It's this sense of being unmoored, kind of dislocated. It happens when you feel like you have to look to some other more dominant culture to figure out your values instead of being able to draw from your own.
And this isn't a small thing. The fallout from this can be huge. We're talking about everything from losing a real sense of your own identity to developing this deep mistrust of the society you're in. It can even lead to things like racism and just a really shaky foundation of who you are culturally. It's a seriously painful thing to go through.
But, okay, it's not all doom and gloom. When someone encounters a new culture, feeling alienated isn't the only possibility. There are really two main paths you can go down. So let's check out the first one. It's called cultural acculturation. And the key idea here is blending cultures, but, and this is important, without losing yourself in the process.
Yeah, that word incorporating is everything. Acculturation is all about learning and adding parts of a new culture to your life. You're picking up the language, you're getting used to the customs, the values, you're making them part of your toolkit, so to speak.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it could be something as simple as falling in love with the local food or learning the language so you can actually connect with people. Maybe you change up your style a bit, but here's the kicker. You're doing all of that while still holding on to who you are. Your original identity is still there, it's just growing. Think of it less as a replacement and more of a fusion.
Okay, now for path number 2, which is pretty different. It's called cultural assimilation. And look, if acculturation is all about creating a blend, assimilation is about completely becoming part of that new culture.
Basically, assimilation is what happens when a minority group or culture starts to look, sound, and act just like the majority group. The lines start to blur, and the ultimate endgame here, whether anyone says it out loud or not, is that the original cultural differences, they just start to disappear.
You know, there's a great definition of this from the sociologist Milton Gordon way back in 1964. He called it, and I quote, "the gradual process whereby cultural differences tend to disappear." I mean, that really nails it, doesn't it?
So how does this even happen? Well, it's a process, right? Step 1 is you adopt the new culture's ways. But then comes step 2. And this is where it gets intense. You actively start to shed or even hide parts of your original culture. We're not just talking about trying new things anymore. This is about leaving things behind. Your food, your clothes, your language, maybe even your religious beliefs. Okay, so we've got these two big ideas on the table. Let's put them right next to each other, because this is where it all clicks. The crucial difference between them, it all boils down to one simple thing: the degree of change. Just look at this side by side. Acculturation, that's about adopting some things. You're adding to your identity. But assimilation, that's a complete adoption. It's not adding, it's replacing. It often means you have to actively reject your old identity. So one is a blend, the other is a complete overhaul. That's the key right there.
So you might be thinking, okay, interesting words, but why does this matter? Well, this is so much more than just a textbook definition. This stuff has real-world consequences for everything, from big-picture social policy all the way down to how you and I feel about who we are.
I mean, really getting the difference between these two paths helps us understand, well, how societies work. It's at the heart of debates about immigration, about social harmony, you name it. And for us, personally, it gives us the words to talk about our own experiences and to understand what the people around us might be going through.
All right, so let's boil this all down. What do you really need to remember? First, alienation. That's that painful feeling of not fitting in. From there, you've got two roads: acculturation, which is all about blending, and assimilation, which is about becoming one. And the main difference, the thing that separates them, is just how much of your original identity you have to change. And that brings us to the big question, the one I want to leave you with. As we think about all this, about building societies and finding our own little corner in the world, what does it actually mean to belong? Something to think about.